Well, happening today, state lawmakers are expected to debate a bill that would limit where and how immigration agents can operate here in Connecticut.
So this comes as 2 local students remain in ICE custody this morning. Your reporter Anna Stansfield live at the state capitol in Hartford explaining what would change if this bill passes. Anna.
Well, good morning, guys. This is really what happening here today is just the early beginning stages of the process here. But if this bill does ultimately pass, the way that ICE enforcement goes on here in Connecticut will look very different. Right now, a 19-year-old Cheshire High School student and a nursing student in their 20s at Southern Connecticut State University are both in ICE custody. Several protests have broken out across the state since they were detained. This bill would let people sue federal agents in state court over alleged constitutional violations, and it would expand the Attorney General's power to investigate federal agents and give the Inspector General authority over federal use of force cases. It would ban most law enforcement officers from wearing masks, which ICE agents typically do, and the bill would also limit where immigration enforcement can happen, restricting agents from detaining someone for a civil offense in places like schools, hospitals, and churches. At noon today, lawmakers will debate the details of this bill before it moves forward. And once those discussions are over here later this afternoon, Democratic lawmakers are hoping that this will pass through the Senate before making its way to the House. I'm your reporter live in Hartford, Anna Stansfield, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Anna, thank you.